Hello boys and girls and mom and dad, and welcome to Ommy'z World. And that's right, I'm Ommy, and today we are back to our Kizzy and Stamps book journal. I am going to read just one of the journals today, and we're going to just I'll post a few questions for you to consider about it. And for those of you who aren't aware of our book study, the book is called Kizzy and Stamps, and it's written by Jeri and it's about a little girl who had to go to an integrated school, and it was the integrated school's first time having students who of a different culture come to their school. And along with that, Kizzy, her name was Kizzy, she felt a little uncomfortable going to the school because she felt like she would be tolerated or felt like they had to accept her. And also she was concerned with them being worried about the scar that was on her face from a farming accident. So we're going to get right into it, and the journal is July 5th, 1963. Mama said it is bad to stop in the middle of a story. So if she knew that last letter I sent you ended like that in the middle, she'd probably make me get a switch. But I'm not really sorry. I think the best stories are the ones that build suspense and make you wonder what happened next. Did you wonder what happened to me next? When I woke up, it was just like I lay there thinking back to that day before, and I was afraid to touch my cheek. But the good Lord says you got to meet your problems head on. So I eased up out of my bed and walked onto these shaky legs to the sliver of looking in the glass that we have in the hall. And my granny said it is pure vanity. What makes my mama hang up a piece of mirror to look on herself? But mama still hung it up and looks on it every day. I turned my head back and forth and saw this huge Band-Aid covering my cheek. There was dry blood in my hair, and the edges of the Band-Aid were dark and stained. I was surprised because I didn't feel a thing, but I realized I felt nothing because of the painkiller. The whole side of my head had a heavy weighing feeling, and I got back in the bed and I felt myself starting to shake all over. Before you could say Jackrabbit, Shag was jumping back in, her toenails clicking across the floor. She eased up to me, her warm, grassy breath surrounded me, and her body pressing mine until I stopped my desperate shaking and fell back into dozing. She was like that by my side for weeks as I healed, as my skin knit together, and as I came to terms with my future. She never slept in the room, but there she was mostly every day. It was a sacrifice for Shag, I know, because working the farm, it was what she enjoys, but she stayed there with me. I'd wake up to see her looking out the window, listening to the bellowing of the cows, and it was like her whole body was aching to go out to them. Yet she did not go. She'd turn her head back and lick my face, not quite touching the Band-Aids, knowing that wasn't allowed, but telling us both that she was tending me and she was working here. Working me instead of the farm animals. Little by little, she made me leave my bed, herding me out of my blankets, forcing me out of my carved out pillow space. And when friends or gall kickers came, she nestled up under against the wall where I liked to rest my injured cheek and pressed me to face them. To look at them head on, to get the stares over and done with, but always with her to lean on, always with her support. Mama said it was done with the most work that a dog has ever done. Daddy says that that is some kind of dog. He's got that right. One time during my healing, I watched outside of my window when my brother James and his best friend Cable Simpson went through the ritual to become blood brothers, pricking their fingers and mixing their blood up. I thought I might do the same with Shag. Then she would have a scar too, and she would be my sister. I called her to my bed and she came edging up beside me. She put her paw on my lap and I asked her to rub and soothe it. And I asked her to rub and I soothed it. She began to gently lick my scar for me because by then it had scarred up. I think she sensed that we were exchanging something in some way, looking out for each other. She began to sniff my scar too, sniffing my hairline. Then she'd lay down and fall asleep. And Shag goes through her life depending on her sense of smell. You know, dogs have to. So even though I thought I was thinking about cutting us, she really knew I really wasn't. Because she smelled that she could trust me. She knows the smell of trust. So we're not sisters by blood, after all. We're just us. I have to say one more thing before Daddy takes us to the mailbox. I cannot believe I'm writing all this to you. And more amazing, I cannot really believe that you're reading it and writing back. It is a stranger to me. Stranger than Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy used to be. I just feel so good to say some things that I've been wanting to say for so long. Things that I don't even really know I wanted to say. And that's the end. So in this here story, she's going a little bit, or in this journal, she's going a little bit further to explain how difficult it was to deal with the cut on her face and how her dog was there to support her. She also talked about her being embarrassed, not wanting people to see the scar on her face and trying to hide it by hiding her face against the wall, and how her dog kind of pushed her out of her fear so that she could be a little more comfortable and to deal with the scars, you know, and let people get a look at it now. Let them say what they're going to say now so that you don't have to deal with it much later. The other thing that she talks about is the teacher, how the teacher was reading all of the letters that she was writing. So it kind of made the teacher a pen pal. My question is, do you have a pen pal? Have you ever had a pen pal? And what are your feelings about this teacher who's never physically met Kizzy, being able to respond to her and write back to her and to build that relationship? Do you think that's a good idea? So tell me your thoughts, and we'll talk again tomorrow. All right, have a nice day. And this is Ommy from Ommy'z World.